Everyone, welcome back to the next episode of Do You Believe in Ghosts? First off, I just want to say thank you for checking this out. You're making this nerd's dream of ghost hunting and digging into history a reality, so you're amazing. I love you all. Alright, quick ask before we start. Does anybody know of like an architect or a 3D model builder or someone who's just really good at drawing? I'm working on an episode about the castle, and I want to map out exactly where I saw whatever it is I saw. But my art skills kind of look like a middle school art project, so no one wants to see that. But cool. All right, let's go. All right, so today we're going to go over one of the most common sightings of ghosts at Slane's Castle, the Phantom Carriage. But before we do that, we're going to have to go through some family drama and lineage that makes Game of Thrones look tame. I'm actually sorry I brought up Game of Thrones. I'm still not over that last season. Yeah, that was intense. But anyways, let's go. So Francis Hay, the ninth Earl of Errol from our last episode, well, his whole being exiled might not just have been because of a little rebellion and treasonous letters. No, his story is way more messy than that, and I want to give a quick disclaimer. 16th century history is murky at best, so if I get anything wrong, and I can guarantee I will get something wrong, let me know in the comments or shoot me an email. Also, this episode gets a little bit brutal at times, so earmuffs, if needed, I will let you know. Fun fact about Francis's dad, Andrew Hay. He almost didn't become the Earl at all. You see, in Scotland, some titles can pass through female descendants, which means Jean Hay, Andrew's first cousin, was actually next in line to become the Countess of Errol. But the crown had other plans. They swooped in and said, okay, Jean, here's the deal. Your cousin, you're going to marry him, and he's actually going to inherit the title. Awesome. And the cousin wedding went forward, and just like that, Andrew got the earldom, and Jean got, well, Andrew. It's giving me very Game of Thrones vibes, cousins mirroring to solidify power, and that is the last Game of Thrones reference I will ever do, I promise. Andrew and Jean had 4 kids, including our boy Francis, who went on to become the 9th Earl of Errol. The eldest, Alexander, was born deaf. Despite being firstborn, Alexander was skipped in the line of succession, which sadly probably says a lot about how they handled disability back then. They also had another son and a daughter, Thomas and Eleanor. They will all come back into play later on in the saga. So Lady Jean Hay, she died in 1570, and Francis inherited the earldom after Andrew died in 1585. But it's not exactly a rags to riches moment. You see, King James sent officers to Francis's house and confiscated a ton of money for reasons that I'll have to get into in a different video. So now, Francis is the Earl, but he's broke. Keep that in mind as we move forward in the story. Now let's talk about Andrew's second wife, Francis's stepmother, Lady Agnes. Lady Agnes had her own wealth and a reputation for being beautiful. After Andrew's death, she planned to go back to her family's estate and just kind of figure out her next steps. Seems simple enough, right? Wrong. Enter Colin the Mad. And this guy lived up to his name. Colin Campbell wasn't just your average nobleman. He had a reputation for being ruthless, erratic, and, well, mad. He wasn't the kind of guy you wanted as an enemy, let alone a suitor. I mention this because shortly after Lady Agnes became single again, Colin's wife conveniently died. I'm not saying he did it, I'm just saying the timing is extremely suspect. With his wife out of the picture and Lady Agnes back on the market, Colin didn't waste any time, but instead of, courting her like a normal human being, he did what only a madman would do. He gathered 100 men, yes, 100 men, and stormed Lady Agnes's home to assault and kidnap her. Just full-on abducted a countess and held her captive in his castle and tried to force her to marry him. Ugh. Gross. And this wasn't some low-level noble pulling a power play. Colin Campbell was a dangerous and powerful man, and what he did sent shockwaves through the aristocracy. Thankfully, Lady Agnes was rescued and didn't back down after getting out of that nightmare. In fact, she launched a legal campaign known as a Commission of Fire and Sword to take Colin down. If you want to hear more about that saga, let me know. I've done some research and it's a wild ride, just not enough to fit in this episode. And it's just, wow, crazy. Lady Agnes was rescued by John Stewart, the 5th Earl of Atholl. This is how the Hays and Stewarts became entangled, and is the segue to one of the possible ghosts in New Slane's castle. Quick note, I have no idea why Colin the Mad is wearing a dress in this photo, but it's kind of hilarious and I couldn't change it, so yeah. The Stewart family is known as the Fair. They were all about doing the right thing. And the rescue of Lady Agnes kickstarted a friendship between the two families. And since they were both supporters of Mary Queen of Scots, there was a time that they all got pretty close, but that friendship didn't last long. And here's where things get tragic. Shortly after the rescue, Frances married John's younger sister, Mary Stewart. The marriage was a huge deal because it came with this massive dowry. And remember, this is money that Francis desperately needed after King James snatched all of his money. But Mary's life with Francis didn't last long. She died shortly after their wedding, and rumors swirled that Francis was cruel to her. The accusations were so strong that the Stuarts withheld their dowry, igniting a rivalry that would span generations. And now, let's fast forward to the modern day ghost sightings at New Slane's castle and the phantom carriage, seen gliding silently through the ruins. Some say it appears on stormy nights, while others claim it vanishes in the thin air. But who could be inside? Could it be Mary Stewart, a bride whose marriage was supposed to bring security, but instead led to whispers of cruelty and an early tragic death? Maybe she's forever reliving her wedding day, trapped in a place where she's found no happiness. Or maybe she's trying to escape, to finally break free of the torment she's endured. Either way, it's a really haunting thought, and one that makes you wonder just how many secrets these ruins still hold. So after everything we've uncovered, I can't help but feel terrible for Mary Stewart. She deserved more, and if her ghost is at New Slane's castle, I hope this video helped in some way. Or I didn't film anything paranormal and we just took a really gnarly look into some crazy history. Either way, this story deserved to be told. But Mary might not be the only spirit tied to New Slane's castle. The next ghost suspect takes us even deeper into Scotland's dark history, the Scottish witch trials, and some of the people involved in the trial might still be lingering at New Slane's castle. So what do you think? Do you want to hear about the Scottish witch trials? Or we could finish the story of the Hayes and the Stuarts. That gets pretty crazy. Or we could also talk about the vampire legends, or we could even talk about one of the many other ghost sightings at Slane's castle. Let me know, drop me a comment. I'm hoping to have something out by the end of the month. But until then, stay nerdy. I love you all, and subscribe, like, and we'll see you next time. See ya.